Welcome back to Franchising with Purpose. I'm Amanda Lepore. Today's episode is about a topic near and dear to my heart. I'm the Director of Learning and Development, and today we're talking about the training you receive from the home office. You'll hear from Greg Detiveaux, another recent new owner-director from Griswold Home Care of North Houston, and how we prepared him for a new career in the world of home care. Steve Turner joins the show again to discuss how the training is designed to help you get started and the ongoing support we provide new owners. And now, here's my conversation with Greg and Steve.
All right, on our last episode of Franchising with Purpose, we talked to Brad Lemon in Missouri about the sales process and getting, to the point of deciding that this was the right choice for him. And today I'm joined by two experts in the next step of the process, which is launching your new home care business. So once you sign your franchise agreement, how do you get from that point to opening your doors? And that's a process that we call launch here at Griswold Home Care. And to talk about it, I am joined by Greg Detiveaux, our owner-director of North Houston, Texas. Hey, Greg, how are you?
I'm doing fine, and good morning to you guys.
Thanks for taking the time to be here. And on the Griswold side of things, we're joined by Steve Turner, Chief Operating Officer here at Griswold Home Care. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing great, Amanda. Thank you for having me again.
Good. Thanks both for being here. I know this is something you are both experts in, so looking forward to talking more about the whole process. So, Greg, my first question, I'm going to direct it to you here, is go back in time a little bit. I know you've been open for a little bit over a year, I believe now at this point. But what was that launch process like? So from the time you signed your franchise agreement to opening your doors, my first question is, how did the home office at Griswold Home Care assist you in that process?
Well, I would have to say Griswold has a very well-developed process for assisting a new owner into getting into business in the home care space. They push you through a lot of thought about why you're doing this and, what is your why? And there's a well-developed strategy for getting into business and a well-developed blueprint to follow. Myself, not being in the healthcare industry, I actually come from the oil and gas industry. I felt it was very helpful and very comforting to know that there was a process to follow. And that was probably the most helpful thing. And also Griswold, knowing that I didn't come from a healthcare background, I think structured something for me in helping train me and prepare me for the technical part of the business. I'm a CPA by training. Being in business, running businesses were not so different for me, but understanding home care and what we're going to be doing and how we're going to be taking care of clients was something I really needed to learn. So it was very helpful to me.
Good. So you referenced the resources and the training that were provided in that process, coming from a background that's not super related to the industry. What were some of those resources and training that you received in the launch process? Talk me through that.
Yes. So I guess two parts. One, on the training side, there was a lot of training in actually caring for people. A lot of the training that CNAs might see along the way. They also put me through or encouraged that I take a CSA program, and that further developed a lot of the things I needed to know for the business. Aside from learning the business, what we were going to be doing, there was a well-documented plan for putting together your business plan. There's a very logical progression when you start your business to where to start first, whether it was digital leads first. And there's a purpose that digital leads would be first. They're the easiest to get. And for example, for me, I felt I knew enough to talk to a client. I didn't know that I wanted to talk to a director of nursing at a hospital. A year and a half later, I feel like I can take that on. So, they've thought this through and have a very logical process for getting you into business and help you develop a business plan that you can follow. I think those were the two most important things to me, getting me prepared on a technical level and then helping me with a business plan that I could follow that's well thought out and progresses, as your technical knowledge develops. Okay. I guess in summarizing, I can say that Griswold gave me everything I needed to be successful in a home care business and has a program that anyone who's willing to work hard can be successful with.
Awesome. And for anybody who's listening, there's a lot of acronyms in the home care business. CSA stands for Certified Senior Advisor, which is the program that Greg went through. So Greg, you're, in addition to the business side of it, the technical component, you're in a state that does have a license. So talk to us a little bit about the process of getting that license, the application. How did the Griswold team assist you in that process?
Yes. I suppose the process could vary a little from state to state, but Griswold has a number of franchise offices in Texas that were already in business, so they were quite familiar with the process. A lot of the process, obviously, is filling out documents, compiling a manual. Those were things that Griswold was able to help structure, suited to, to Texas and specifically for my business. So all the collateral I needed to file for my license, I got assistance in getting that all together, and then, ultimately filing the documents and responding to the questions that the state had.
All right. So after the technical training, all the things you mentioned, resources, the license process, how prepared do you feel when you left training and pushed the big red button and opened your doors? How well prepared do you feel like you were?
I think I was well prepared. I think you quickly realize, especially starting directly dealing with clients or their family, that you know more than they know about home care, even if you didn't come from a healthcare background. So I quickly felt comfortable that I could give advice. I would understood the care needs they had, and we could match the caregivers to the case. So I had what I needed. And then again, over time, I think those skills and understanding develop such that you become more comfortable even going in and calling on nurse directors at facilities. So it was very helpful for me and very comforting.
Good. Thanks for sharing your experiences in the process. I'm going to turn the tables here and chat with Steve a little bit about the specific Griswold Home Care launch process, because it's not unique to franchising in general, right? Everybody's kind of got a process that takes owners from the point of signing an agreement to opening their doors. But what makes ours different?
So it's a great question, Amanda. Let me start by, I'd like to just pick up on something that Greg just said. Our launch process is built for people who've never been in the home care business, who've been in other fields like oil and gas or accountants or lawyers or real estate or anything. So it's built for people who've been in our business and people who haven't. So if you're a medical professional, our launch process works very well for you. If you've never been in there, that's okay. If you've never been in the healthcare business, that's okay too. Our launch process will walk you through it and get you ready to open a successful home care business. A few things about our launch process at Griswold. So first of all, we have someone whose job is dedicated to launching and getting somebody open. So we have a specific person whose job is to walk that person through all the aspects of opening a business. From the minute a franchise agreement is signed to the minute is open, someone's going to be there walking you through every step of that process. They're kind of like I think of them like a point guard in basketball. They don't do everything with you, but they'll get you over to learning and development, compliance, marketing, operations. So that person's job is to make sure you walk through the whole process as effectively and quickly as possible.
So I think we've identified kind of the kickoff of that, right? And in the
Mhm.
beginning, you almost don't know what you don't know. So I love that there's somebody to support and be kind of your
Right.
guide in that. But when does that end? You know, when Greg opened his doors, is that, okay, you're going to kick into the deep end of the pool and hope that you learned everything you need to know at that point? Or what's the ongoing support look like?
So I think, as Greg will attest, we still talk to Greg on a fairly regular basis. So when you first launch, we're going to talk to you a minimum of once a week. That's the minimum, absolute minimum we'll talk to you. Do we talk to people 2, 3, 4 times a week when they're first starting? Sure, when they're getting their license together to go in, like Greg did. Sometimes we're talking multiple times a week to finish that process. When people are looking for office space, sometimes we're talking multiple times a day. But there's always a minimum of a weekly call as you're launching. Once you launch and open, we're still going to have that weekly call with you, because while we're not talking about setting up office space and furniture and getting your license and getting forms set up, now we're talking about going out and hiring caregivers and getting clients. And we're going to talk to you about that on a weekly basis, because that's now the operations of the business. We want to grow the business. We want to recruit caregivers. We want to find clients. And that's what we're going to talk to people about. For a minimum of a year, you're going to most likely have a weekly call with us. After that point, you'll probably go to an every other week call and then maybe a monthly call. But you're going to hear from us at least once a month forever. We're not going anywhere, and you're not going anywhere as an owner. So we want to be in touch with you.
Absolutely. Greg, anything you want to add to that piece, just from your perspective?
Yes, I would say that it's very important. And it's almost like a mentor who's appointed, who's there as a resource, checking in on you every week and directing you to the resources you may need and asking, pertinent questions about what's going on in your business. Kim and I were still meeting weekly. Part of it is I think we just enjoy chatting. However, I think that's going to be moved to maybe once a month. But it was very reassuring that Griswold was still there to help, and the weekly calls mean a lot, I think, to owners as they start up.
And Amanda, besides those weekly calls, we have a ticket system here. So if another question comes up and you're not sure if it should go to someone in operations, learning and development, compliance, an owner can put a ticket in that gets assigned to the right person and gets that question answered for them. We try to answer every question within 24 hours. Or you could always just pick up the phone and call that support person who's been assigned to you.
If I might add one thing, another resource that's been unbelievable is the other Griswold owners. From the beginning, whenever I reached out to speak to people about Griswold and whether or not I wanted to start this journey, they've been all so helpful, and that continues today. We here in Texas have a little bi-weekly thing we still do together, helping each other out, called Don't Mess with Texas. And it's just great, the amount of support we get both from Griswold and the other owner directors.
I love the name of the group. I'm a little jealous. That's a very cool name.
It's a Texas thing.
I know. I'm not cool enough to live in Texas. Steve, anything you want to add? Kind of a parting, anything we didn't talk about here in this launching your business episode?
Two things. One, Greg is right. One of the best things about our franchise system is our owners. Our owners are incredibly supportive of one another. They're not competitive with one another. So they all want to see everyone else succeed. We have some of this incredibly brilliant owners who are doing really great things, who are there to help and support and give ideas. That's awesome. When we talk about the launch process, people just need to know that it's about as turnkey as you can get, right? We're going to teach you everything you need to know about the business suite. Whether you're in a state that needs a specialized policy and procedure manual, we'll produce that. We'll produce the forms. We understand what's going on in each state, to how to recruit caregivers, how to find clients. Our learning and development team is wonderful. Our compliance team is on top of what's going on from state to state. and our operations team all has home care experiences, which is what you want when you're thinking about opening a business. So it's something we're really proud of here and kind of like to brag about.
Steve, I just want to hit on one thing that you said, because the operations team does all have home care experience. And I think that's invaluable. And you're talking to folks who, have sat in the seat that you're sitting in. They've done what you've done. So the advice that they're giving you, the strategies, the conversations are coming from a place of they've lived that life. They've done it. And I think that's really important to note.
It's not just our operations team, by the way. The COO of our company is a home care expert. So the person who runs our whole company, our CEO, has come out of the home care business. So it starts at the top. We have our own corporately owned stores that we run, so we can ask them questions and see what they're doing. Again, the person who manages those stores has been in the business for a really long time. I've been in the business for a really long time. I'm embarrassed to say how long I've been in it for. Shows my age. But our director of sales and operations was a home care administrator. We have people who have home care and senior housing experience. They have both experience. So then we have people who've been at Griswold for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years that are all we're able to rely on to give our owners help and guidance.
Absolutely. Greg, any parting thoughts, anything else you want to share?
I think one other thing that's worth mentioning, and which was really attractive to me from the beginning, and one of the big reasons I think I selected Griswold, and hopefully why Griswold selected me, was just the fit from a corporate culture standpoint. Griswold's corporate culture was very aligned with what I liked in a company, my management style and philosophy. And as you start dealing with more Griswold owners and directors, you see that it's a common thing across the organization and then within Griswold's corporate organization. And being a great place to work, I think, was one of the things that was very attractive to me. In our business, because our employees don't all work at one facility where you can walk around and pat them on the back and get to know them, it takes more effort, a deliberate effort, to get to know them. And it's something that we encourage in our staff is, get involved in their day, know their case, give them a call. It's just a little harder when your employees work at 20 or 30 different places, but it's part of our culture and we have to do it.
All right. Greg, Steve, I could not have said it better myself. And I think I say this in every episode that we do. You are in business for yourself with Griswold Home Care, but never by yourself. And that starts from day one, right? Whether it's through the launch process, the support of the home office team, other owners, you've got a whole wealth of support and resources available to you. So thank you both so much for being here, taking the time out of your day. I know you're both very busy, but we do appreciate chatting with you and learning about your experiences.
Thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us for Franchising with Purpose. I'm Amanda Lepore. Don't forget to visit Griswold Franchising on social media for more information. Griswold Home Care Franchising on Facebook, at Griswold Fran on Twitter, and Griswold Home Care Franchise on Instagram. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and check out my personal favorite, griswoldhomecare.com/franchise. If you like what you've been hearing, make sure to rate and review the show on your favorite app. We really appreciate it. See you next time.